Hey, how's it going, y'all? This is Ayo Carpenter. You may see me from time to time on Perk's channel with my Zoro deck profile list, but this time I'm coming at you with a Portgas.D.Ace first place deck profile list. I took this deck to locals yesterday, and to quickly go over the matchups, first matchup was against Arlong, second matchup was against Kuro, third matchup was against Katakuri, and the final matchup was against Whitebeard. And the key for me winning this tournament was that I put emphasis on controlling the opponent's board, and you can do that with this deck because it has just a lot of explosive events to KO your opponent's characters. So when it gets to the end game, they can't really swing for you or can't really go for lethal because they don't have a board to threaten you with at that point in stage, because you keep getting rid of all their annoying cards, all their big threats, like their big boss monsters. And I say the only sort of bad matchup against this deck is against Black, like the Rob Lucci, because their stuff can't be KO'd as easily, or sometimes not even at all. Like when they drop the Borsellino, like you just have to hope that you can see a Fire Fist or Flame Emperor off the trigger and then hit it that way. But for their other blockers, it's gonna pretty be tough to get off. Like the Fukuro, you can't really deal with it. You just have to hope that they decide to swing with it somehow, and then you take it out that way. But other than that, it's still, I wouldn't say it's like a game ender. You just have to really know how to endure and play that matchup. But fortunately, I didn't see any black decks at this local, so we'll move on to the deck profile here. And starting off with our 1-drops, these are all staples. You should run them in every deck in some sort of fashion. Izo, every red deck. Izo here. This is the searcher for the Whitebeard cards. And yeah, he's just really good, really nice staple. Next is the Buggy, for the Buggy. Very good into the Zoro in the Law matchup because of his effect that can't be KO'd by slash characters. So when he hits the board, they're gonna have a hard time getting rid of it. It's very annoying for them. They have to invest some Don into Nami or the Izo just to try to contest it. And Zoro has to use his use their Fire Fist to try to deal with it. Next up is the Otama. Otama, a really nice staple, still good in this format, and it works really well with Ace because you can keep it in hand for a counter or use its effect to drop a character to with -2k, give them -2k attack. And then you'll just use swing at it with the leader or swing at it with one of the little guys and just apply pressure, get some cards out of there, get some cards out of your opponent's hand. And then our last 1-drop character is going to be Makino. So it's self-explanatory. You want to use Makino to bump up the Buggy. But sometimes I find myself also bumping up the Izos. And even though I can't get that card up to 7k as easily as you can with Zoro, just having that extra body to swing with 5k at a leader or a character to once again apply more pressure and see if they'll come off a card in their hand or take a life. Just the little stuff like that makes your life easier. So yeah, these are your staples. 1-drop cards. And now moving on to the 2-drop. Just the Curly Dodon. It helps with the consistency. Really good card for the consistency of this deck, just like with Zoro, just like with Luffy. It's really good, and it's also like a nice body on board. I don't mind putting the 2 Don just to swing at it and put more pressure. I know for the Ace deck, some builds run the Striker stage card. To me, it's just really Don inefficient for me to consider like running it. I'm not a big fan of it. I know some other builds they do well with it, just that one. I couldn't see myself running the card at all. It'll probably just be like an extra like counter or something, but Curly the Don, it works fine for me. It also helps me achieve my goal of wanting to play more aggressive with this build. So I just cycle through my deck, you know, put more bodies on the board and go from there. Really nice card. And next for our 4 drops, it's going to be one of the OPO2 Marco. He is the only blocker that I run in this build, interestingly enough. But with this build, I find myself doing good enough to like controlling the board where I don't have to rely on blockers or like my the offensive events like the guard points or the radical beams. This card, but when I see this card, it comes in clutch for the final round against the Whitebeard deck. My opponent drops the 9-drop Whitebeard, and from there the board, I mean the game's looking really scary for me because he can easily take me out. I'm at my last 2 life. So the following turn, you know, I drop this, and it keeps me live just long enough for me to like take the game from him. Because like fortunately, by that time he drops the the 9-drop Whitebeard. He's very low on life. He probably has like maybe 1 or maybe like 3 cards in hand, 4 or 3 at the most. So, I mean, it makes it easier for me to just like kind of just take the game from him, just survive long enough. And sometimes that's all you need. So that's why I run him as my only blocker. And then next up for the 4 drops, we run 4 of the Jozus. He's going to stay in the hand most of the time as a counter. But if you need that extra body, when you get your life, when you're low on life, you're at 2 life, and you just need something else to swing with, he can come up. This will really come up. I'll just find myself using it as a 2K counter most of the time. But he's searchable with Easel, and his effect can come up, and that's why we run him. So to make up for kind of like the shortcomings of this deck, which is that you can't really swing wide, we've just run powerful cards like Marco at 4. So this card is very crucial with this deck because we run a lot of events. He's going to, once he hits the board, he gets rid of like one of like the a little character, and then he just stays on board because if they keep coming at it, you can just keep pitching events to save it, and they're losing a lot of like they're wasting their time swinging at it instead of swinging at my leader. So that's very valuable. And he's a big body. You just put 1 Don on him, he's swinging 7 at you, and he's getting rid of threats. He's just a real good staple card. And really every red deck should be running it in some form of fashion. And I max out on him because I want to see him as much as possible. So yeah, 4 Marcos. And next up is our second boss monster, which is Portgas.D.Ace. Really good in the end game. For when you have 10 Don, you can just drop him minus 3K any of your opponent's characters, any threats, and then follow it up with a Fire Fist because that event costs 3 Don. So yeah, just really good, really good into like the Whitebeard matchup. So when they throw out their big monsters and they like swing at you, you just drop this the following turn, and then you just focus on. You really want to focus on maintaining the board, or controlling Whitebeard's board, because at some point they're gonna have to like keep on slinging out cards counters to save their big guys. But when you lower them, it makes your job easier, and then it just really just sets you up for lethal for the following turns, because they're not gonna have a hand to like defend themselves, and then you're just this card makes your life easier pretty much. Moving on to our events. I run 3 of the guard points, 1 radical beam, and then 1 red hawk. So I know this lineup is looking pretty sparse as far as like the defensive events. However, once again, just like with Marco, just like with the blocker Marco, I find myself doing really good with controlling my opponent's board, KOing their threats, getting rid of their big bodies. Well enough for where I don't have to rely on these cards as much. Sure, if I'm playing buggy and I see this, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab the radical beam just in case, because it really helps in the end game. But with guard point, most of the time, I just find myself pitching it off for a counter or like an extra power boost, and then saving using this card to save my Marco. So yeah, it comes in really handy, and if you can really just control the board of your opponent, you don't have to worry about the defense too much, because once again they're not going to be able to really threaten you or really take too much life from you if they can't establish a board. And here's how we facilitate board control excellently with Crossfire. I run 4 of these. I love the ratios. I don't think it's too clunky, and it has a really good insane effect. Main or active. If my leader has the Whitebeard pirates, I just give a character minus 4K, and from there I can if they're swinging at me with like one of their boss monsters, I keep this up. Keep 2 up, and then like drop their power down minus 4K. They can't touch me no longer, or they can't get an attack off of me. Then if they drop something big, so if yellow drops their 7-drop Big Mom, not even the 7-drop, they drop the 10-drop Big Mom. Following turn, you just use this, and then you can follow it up with a Flame Emperor. You use this, they should be at 8K. And then you just follow it with a Flame Emperor, and then you just get it off the board. With Dofi decks or blue, if they drop the 9-drop Mihawk, you can follow it up with this card in Fire Fist. So yeah, you get a lot of value from this card. I love it. It just makes my job easier, just like with Ace. 7-drop Ace makes my job easier to get rid of their threats. And moving on to like the MVPs, we max out on 4 copies of Fire Fist. Really good in the hand for its main effect, and also really good in the trigger when you see it off life. It's basically Jet Pistol. So there are just 4 more copies of Jet Pistol. Yeah. I do not run Jet Pistol in this build. I think the cost of it is just a bit much. I don't feel that it's necessary. This works good alone for the effect. So trash an event, and then KO 2 opponents with a cost of 5K or less and a cost of 4K or less, it's really valuable in the Whitebeard. In the law matchup. And there's really nothing more to say. Yep, max it out, see it in hand, see it off the life. And for the MVP, Flame Emperor, this card is insane. Has 3 effects on 1 card. First effect, KO an opponent's character with a cost of 8. With a power of 8K or less. So you're getting rid of boss monsters easily. They drop a 7-drop Big Mom, it's gone. They drop if green drops Odin, it's out of here. You just get rid of big threats. Next ability is the your leader gains double attack. So this is what makes my leader Portgas.D.Ace able to like grind with most of the decks out there. You can easily grind with yellow, because if I'm down on life, they'll be down on life too, because I'll double attack, and they'll typically, if they're playing defensively, they won't have enough cards to like defend from the double attack, because the third effect is also insane. Your leader gains 3,000 power for that turn, so he's swinging 8 upwards, upwards of 8 to 9, 10. However big you want to boost your leader, you can make it happen, because if you want to get them to 9, you can place a Don on the leader, or you can just pitch a event from your hand. This card here is what turns your leader into a boss monster. Some say that the double attack effect, or like running or maxing out on these, is a bit much. But even if you don't get value off the double attack, let's say you activated this event while your opponent was at 1 life, so you don't get the double attack, 2 out of 3 is not bad, because you still got rid of a threat, any threat you want, and you still have a 8K leader swinging at whatever he wants, swinging at leader probably. And your opponent has to respond to it. So this card is insane. I don't see myself running any less than 4. If I could run 5, if I can run more, I would. But this card is just goated for this deck. Makes sense that you can only play it in this deck. This card is cranked. And with that, that's my deck profile. Shout out to Perp. Go check out his channel. This deck profile will be up on his channel. Go show my boy some love. Please like, subscribe. Please like, comment, and subscribe to his channel on his videos and stuff. Show him love. And with that, I'm out. Peace.